Welcome back to Stories of Faith, where we bring the Bible's most dramatic moments to life. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of Scripture's greatest suspense stories, a tale of political intrigue, deadly conspiracy, and miraculous deliverance. This is the story of Daniel in the lion's den, found in Daniel chapter 6. Picture this: Babylon, around 539 BC. The once mighty Babylonian Empire has fallen to the Medes and Persians. King Darius now rules over this vast territory, and he needs administrators he can trust. Among his top 3 officials is a Hebrew exile named Daniel, a man of extraordinary wisdom and impeccable integrity. 120 governors served under Daniel. They watched as the king favored him, planned to set him over the entire kingdom. They couldn't tolerate it, so they dug through his records, searching for anything: corruption, embezzlement, negligence. But Daniel was flawless. So they changed tactics. If they couldn't attack his work, they'd attack his faith. They knew Daniel's routine. Every single day, 3 times a day, he'd open his window toward Jerusalem and pray to the God of Israel, as predictable as sunrise. The conspirators approached King Darius with a proposal dripping with false flattery. They suggested the king issue a decree. For 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or human, except to the king himself, would be thrown into the lion's den. Now, this wasn't unusual for ancient monarchies. Kings often claimed divine status, and Darius, flattered by their apparent devotion, signed the decree without suspecting the trap being laid. Here's the critical detail. Under the law of the Medes and Persians, once a decree was signed and sealed, it could not be revoked. Not even by the king himself. It was irrevocable, permanent, unchangeable. News of the decree spread through Babylon before sunset. Daniel's servants rushed to warn him. "Master," they urged, "close your windows, pray in secret, it's only 30 days. But when evening came, Daniel climbed the stairs to his upper room. He opened his windows toward Jerusalem, and he knelt in prayer, exactly as he had always done. Think about this choice for a moment. Daniel wasn't being asked to worship false gods. He wasn't being asked to curse the Lord. He was simply being asked to be quiet about his faith for 30 days, to pray silently, to keep his devotion private. But Daniel understood something crucial. Faith that can be hidden when convenient isn't really faith at all. If he compromised once, what would stop him from compromising again? So he prayed with his window open, visible to anyone watching. And they were watching. The conspirators rushed to the palace, barely containing their glee. They found the king and asked him to confirm. "Did you not sign a decree, Your Majesty, that anyone who prays to any god except to you would be thrown to the lions?" "I did," Darius replied. "The decree stands." "Then know this, O king, Daniel pays no attention to you or your decree. He still prays 3 times a day to his God." The king's face went pale. In that instant, he understood. He'd been manipulated. His pride had been used as a weapon against the one man he trusted most, and there was nothing he could do about it. Darius spent the entire day desperately searching for a loophole. He called in legal advisors. He reviewed ancient texts. He tried everything to find a way around his own decree. But as the sun set over Babylon, painting the sky blood red, he found none. The law was the law. They brought Daniel to the pit. The roaring from below was terrifying. Starved lions, kept hungry specifically for executions like this. The opening to the den was sealed with a massive stone, and victims were lowered into the darkness below. Standing at the edge, Daniel remained calm, and King Darius, with tears in his eyes, called out to him, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." It was half hope, half prayer, from a pagan king who was beginning to glimpse the power of the God of Israel. They lowered Daniel into the pit, into the blackness, into the growling shadows where screams usually lasted only moments. The stone ground into place. The king pressed his royal seal into the clay, making it official. Then came the night. King Darius refused food. He refused entertainment. He dismissed his musicians and concubines. He lay in his luxurious bed, tormented by the image of Daniel being torn apart in the darkness beneath the city. In the ancient world, executions by lion were designed to be swift. Within minutes, the roaring would stop. The silence that followed meant the deed was done. But what was happening in that pit? The Bible tells us simply, God sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions. Can you imagine it? Daniel, in complete darkness, hearing the padding of massive paws circling him. feeling their hot breath, seeing their eyes gleaming in blackness. Yet they didn't attack. They couldn't. Someone held them back. All night long, Daniel remained untouched. While the king above suffered in his palace, Daniel rested in the peace of God's protection. At the first hint of dawn, before the sun had fully risen, the king ran. His robes flew behind him as he sprinted through the palace corridors, through the streets of Babylon, to the pit. His servants struggled to keep pace. He reached the sealed stone and called down, his voice hoarse with grief and desperate, impossible hope. "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God been able to rescue you from the lions?" Silence. The king's heart sank, and then, "O king, live forever," Daniel's voice, clear, strong, alive. "My God sent his angel and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." The king shouted for the stone to be removed. When Daniel emerged, the king couldn't believe his eyes. Not a scratch, not a bruise. His clothing wasn't even torn. It was as if he'd spent the night in a guest room rather than a pit of starving predators. Darius wept with joy and relief, but his next command was swift and terrible. The conspirators were seized, those who had plotted Daniel's death. According to the custom, they were brought to the same prison along with their wives and children. What happened next is brutal, but the Bible records it plainly. They were thrown into the den, and the lions overpowered them before they even reached the bottom of the pit. The contrast is stark and intentional. The same lions that couldn't touch Daniel instantly destroyed his accusers. The message was clear. Daniel's survival wasn't luck or coincidence. It was divine intervention. King Darius, now fully convinced, issued a new decree. This one wasn't written from pride, but from genuine awe. Reading with gravity, "I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and continued into the reign of Cyrus the Persian. He lived as a testimony that the God who shuts the mouths of lions is worthy of our worship and our trust. This story asks us some profound questions. Would we have the courage to keep praying with the window open? Would we stand firm when faithfulness costs us everything? Daniel's choice wasn't reckless. It was rooted in a lifetime of walking with God. He knew who he served, and he trusted that God would be faithful, whatever the outcome. Sometimes God delivers us from the lion's den. Sometimes he walks with us through it, but he is always faithful. You can find the full account of this story in Daniel chapter 6. Thank you for listening to Stories of Faith. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear a story of courage and divine faithfulness today. Until next time, may you have the courage to keep your windows open. Scripture reference, Daniel 6, 1-28.